Okay, so here we are on August 2nd. August 2nd. So on my videos, in the beginning of the video now, you're going to start to see this screen. At the top of it, you'll see my live account. This is all with Topstep. So my live account with Topstep, I'm trading the YM only. If I add more instruments here, you'll see those instruments there, but YM is all I'm trading with it. My 50K Combine NQ. So my NQ Combine, number 2 right next to it because I'm on my second one. I already had to reset my NQ Combine. And every time I have to reset, I'll add a number here so you can see, what number it is when I this finally switches over to XFA, and then eventually gets rolled into my live account. And then down here we have the 50K Combine GC, hasn't started yet. So NQ, second round, no trades, so it just has a green 0, but because it's active but hasn't started yet. GC, I haven't done anything with that yet. I haven't even started a combine yet, so we're in blue. And my casino, I need to reset it. It'll be the second one, and I haven't reset it yet, so that is in blue. If I end up in the negative in the account, these will be red, and as long as the account is positive, it'll be green. So this way you get a quick snapshot at the top of the day of what all my accounts look like. And for those of you who didn't see it in my other videos, the plan is I trade my combine for NQ, and when it gets to an XFA, I trade it, and when it gets to they want to roll, when Topstep wants to roll it into the live account, it gets rolled in, and then I'll add NQ to the live account. And in my trade managing log, my journal basically that I use as my strategy manager, I call it, in there I will divide up my live account funds, so a certain portion of it goes to NQ, a certain portion goes to YM, eventually a certain portion will go to GC, and that money will be separated so that I can scale up according to the ticker's performance and not the overall account's performance. So once I start doing that later on, I'll show you more details on that. But just wanted to explain this screen to you so you know what you're looking at the top of my videos, to be fully transparent with all of you. I'm not trying to show you that I'm the best trader on the planet, just trying to show you an honest journey with Topstep and give you my opinion and reviews as they happen. Eventually, probably next month, I'm going to be in October. I'll be 1 year with Topstep, and I'm going to give you my 1 year review and tell you what I think about them, where they're going, and all that good stuff. All right, so let's get into today's trades. Okay, so here I am in my new 50K NQ Combine, just trading the NQ in this Combine, or the MNQ, depending on what's going on. These moves are so big right now. I'm on the MNQ with 2 contracts. So I was looking for, I'm long right now, I'm long. I was looking for that retracement I was talking about yesterday. Let's go to the daily candle. I was looking for a retracement of this candle. I was looking for an open, retest the bottom, come back up, retrace a portion of this candle. I just needed to get right there. Not even that much of it, right? A lot of times I'll retrace half or all, and I was just looking for a quarter of it. We can go back in time. Look at this red candle, big retracement. This red candle, retracement. This red candle, retracement. Right? This one didn't get any. That one had a nice retracement. That one retraced. This one retraced. I mean, just go back in time. This one didn't get any. That one retraced most of the time. Going back in time here, these red candles are retracing at least a quarter. And all I wanted on this trade was about a quarter. And when it got close, I put my stop to break even plus a few dollars so I wouldn't be a losing trade. And instead, it's just selling off. So we're getting ready to break this low. And you can see, if we break this low, I think once we get through here, I think we're at least coming down to this area, if not lower. So I'm going to go ahead and reverse my trade once this happens. And then see if we recover all of it to the downside. This may just slide and continue sliding down. It went up a little bit, and then it's just been all red ever since. So we're really close to getting stopped out. I almost just want to click the reverse my trade button. But I'll let it hit the stop because the stop is, before it hits the stop, it's still a long trade. So I'll wait.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Okay, so I got my orders in now. So I got my exit. I'm in 2 contracts. That'll get me out. Got my order for 2 contracts to get me back in to the short side. And then I got my 2 contracts waiting to get me out once it hits the target. If it wants to go through quick and I get my tag, all good. I'll take my small change and then live to fight another day. All right, traders, I'm going to bed. I'm just going to let this thing ride. I'll wake up and find out what happened in the morning. Okay, so here we are back with that trade, that overnight trade. So I had that speed bump in to get short on it. Ended up getting short, recovering all my losses. So now I'm only down $9.60 on the day on my new 50K NQ setup. So looking for the next trade, and then we'll jump into it, and maybe we can get into some profits before the day is over. Okay, gonna jump in with 1 contract long in the YM right now. I hate that it does this, and you don't get to see it as it is. Okay.
Order submitted.
All right, so in the YM long right now with 1 contract. Let me mark it up so you can better see what's going on. Erase these, remove. All right, so here's my YM trade. You're on the 5-minute candle right now. I got 1 contract to the long side, looking for a move at least back to this area. 73% probability that it'll go there. So I mean, it's good. It's just not 85 or 88%. If it wants to come back down and get through this level, I have an 88% probability that it's going much lower. And again, in the live account with 1 contract in the YM. And this is a 150K live account, so my drawdown it's a lot larger than my 50K, so it's easy to weather these storms in this account. So right now I should be in the micros because I should only be risking between $400 and $500 a trade, just somewhere in that area. And this trade puts me at $800 risk on this first setup. The second setup is going to put me around $1,600 risk. So that's a total risk on the day of $2,400. It's a pretty big risk for the day, especially when your account is only $7,000. So this I probably should be trading over in the micros and not in the minis, but I'm already in, so I'm just gonna let it ride. Maybe if I get into profit here, I'll move my stop up, protect that, and then I can always exit and switch over to the minis, or the micros rather. I can switch over to the micros. Let's go over to the daily candle here on YM. I want to show you something. So you can see here on the daily candle, YM went up, and we had a channel basically form up right here with the support and a resistance zone. Hitting that zone. This daily candle sold off into that zone, almost to the bottom of it, and now it's retracing back up. This is today's candle, and now it's retracing back up quite a bit. So I'm looking for this to continue that retracement all the way back up, at least by half to the top part of this zone area, which is above my initial profit target. And I already put my green line on the chart for the secondary profit target. So looking for a move into that pocket somewhere in there is where I'd like to take my profit off. We'll see if it wants to do it. And here's my stop. So if it wants to run back towards the bottom of that candle, we may just be extending it towards the bottom of that zone, which you can see my other profit target to the speed bump side is closer to the bottom of that area. So it doesn't have to run off the bottom of that candle too much if it does come back down to hit my profit target. So when you just look at candle movements, you can kind of get a better idea of how they move. Just look at candles. Like, don't just turn your computer on and look at the chart for a minute and then go do other things. If you're learning, sit there and watch a candle move and see what it does. Watch it go green, then watch it go red, then watch it go green, then watch it go red. Look at that oscillation that takes place inside of that candle, and then switch over to some smaller time frames and kind of see what's going on in there, and then switch over to some bigger time frames and see how that's affecting those bigger time frames, and you'll start to get a better feel for the natural flow of the market. Because I think some traders, you get in, you see the candle go green, and then it comes back down and it clicks red, and you're like, oh no, it's going down, and you're like so confident that it's because it was green, now it's going red, it's going down. But maybe that ticker doesn't do that. Maybe that ticker goes green and red, and then green again, and then red again, and maybe that's normal. Like gold does that a lot. Some other ones might not. So kind of get an idea not just of markets in general, but what does that ticker like to do? Because they all have their own personality, and when you learn a little bit more about that ticker's personality, it may help you better choose your trade entry. But the bigger thing is, it might just help you psychologically when you're watching the trade action happen. You're like, oh, that's normal for gold to go green and red and green and red. Not worried about it. It's normal for this one to do that. And then when you start to see it do the thing that's out of the norm, then it can kind of get your little radar up and you can start making decisions. So something to think about. All right, going back over to the 5 minute. Okay, so I got something I'm a little concerned with coming up here. So if you look down here, we got 12, 48, 51. That translates to 11 minutes left, roughly, right now, 11 minutes left before we have a 4 hour, a 1 hour, a 30 minute, 5 minute, 1 minute, 15 minute, 10 minute, like all candles coming to a close on the chart. So let's go back and look and see those candles. Hopefully this will be my target before that happens. But let's go take a look while the trade's working. Let's go to the 4 hour. Here's a 4 hour candle. Look at that. Got into that zone from that daily I showed you. And just nice retracement coming back up. But what happens when this next 4 hour candle opens? There's 9 red candles on the 4 hour chart. Oh my gosh. So that's how many of you went long at 7 candles thinking that we couldn't have any more than that? Man, 9 red candles. Will the next 4 hour candle be a green one? Maybe. Could be really nice, right? Or will it retrace this before bouncing and becoming green? Then that would be bad, because then I would get stopped out. I'd be in the short side and get in trouble on both directions. So in other words, things can become pretty volatile at this 1 o'clock marker. Let's go look at the 1 hour. 1 hour candle is going to close green most likely here in the next 10 minutes. So will the next 1 hour candle retrace this entire candle first? If it does, not so bad. My stop is way down here. I can afford that retracement. Now, if my stop was inside of this and I couldn't afford the retracement, I would get stopped out on a retracement just to watch it go higher without me. So that's something I'm looking at and thinking about. Here's the 30-minute candle, green. Again, if my stop was inside of this, even this green candle here, we're about to get maybe close on a doji. So close on a doji is indecision, and then what happens next can decide what takes place. Does this come back down to make a W pattern before going higher? That's what happens. Then I'm going to get stopped out. I'm going to get banged up in this trade. Looking at the 4 hour candle, there's got to be a green one sooner or later. Is it a big green or a little green? So I start to think about all these little different things. Maybe I'm complicating my trading too much, but it gives me an idea of the play that I want to make. So in the next 5 minutes, I think I'm going to be looking at. So I think I'm going to take my trade off the table here in the next couple minutes, in profit if I can, because I'm in the mini right now, and I don't really want to be a part of that volatility in the mini. As I said, my daily risk right now is $2,400. That's way too much daily risk for a $7,000 account. So I need to switch over to the micros going into this 1 o'clock candle if I can, unless I find myself in a really great position in the next 5 minutes, which it doesn't look like that's going to happen. At the same time, I didn't think about this. I was thinking about this other thing I'm telling you right now, but at the same time, we're going to be making wicks and tails, right? So let's go back to the 60. 60. Now there's plenty of wick there. It didn't have to keep coming down, so that's all right. But if this was a solid candle all the way up top and only got 7 minutes left, sooner or later we're probably going to make a wick, right? So there'll be some retracement. So that probably would have been the time to get out. But it was already one there. And then 30-minute candle, we're going red on this 30-minute candle. That's great. If this 30-minute candle wants to close red, more opportunity for greens going forward. The market always has red candles on the way up and always has green candles on the way down. So throwing a red one in the mix right here that does not break below this green candle is a bullish thing for me. And an opportunity to even add up to my position. And then we saw on the 4 hour candle, we already have a tail in there. So that's not really a thing. So as candles get ready to open and close, I do look to see, are they going to make tails and wicks? Is there retracement possibilities there? A lot of these little things go into my brain. Some of them help me make trade decisions, but most of them just make me understand what I'm looking at and whether it's a concern or not. All right, well, this looks like I'm not going to be getting out to go over to the micros. Because if I got out here to jump over to a micro, I would have to hit full target just to break even, maybe on that micro, minus commissions, probably end up in the red. So it's automatically a red trade if I exit here, and it's still not the trade's still not over yet. Should have locked in some profit up here. Break even plus a couple bucks and then switched over to the micros. Or even took that $200 and then switched over to the micros. Might have been nice. Because then I would have to have almost a full loser. It would have been actually pretty... The smart thing to do would have been to take that 200 and switch over to the micros. All right, well, it is what it is. All right, let's see if it wants to break through here. Nope, maybe. Okay, I'm going to reverse my trade here. Where's that button? Reverse. Waiting for the new candle.
Order submitted.
Okay, reverse my trade. May regret this, but I'm reversed. All right, reverse my trade. So risk right now on that is I made a low, it made a high. Is this making a higher low for a higher high? And then I'll regret reversing that trade. It's even worse is I need to head out in 10 minutes. Got to go pick up my little one. And so I won't be back. I don't think I'll make it back before the market closes. So yeah, this trade will just let it ride. And we'll take the speed bump off up top.
Order canceled.
So one thing I worry about with what we're seeing right here is this. A little bit of a wedge forming right in here. So, you know, if this wants to break out from here, I mean, it's kind of a classic wind it up, send it. So that does have me a little bit concerned. If this breaks through here, we could be in big trouble. And then I'll be like, why did I reverse my trade? I'm such an idiot, blah, 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 blah. And then if it comes down and hits my target, I'll be like, oh, good thing I reversed my trade. I'm so smart. Oh, man. Probabilities are my favorite right now, though. I have an 88% probability that this target's going to get hit. So I feel good about it, but there hasn't been a loser in a long time. So I'm overdue for a loser. So do I still have an 88% probability? Because I'm way overdue for a loser. If you have an 80% probability with your trades and 8 out of 10 trades are winners and you've gone 15 trades with no losers, do you still have an 80% probability in your next trade? Or is it more like a 10% probability that you're going to be successful and 90% that you're not because you're overdue? Which way does it go? And if you have a couple losers and then you get into a trade, is that the trade that's got 80% probability and then every trade after that is declining? Right? Something to think about with your probabilities. All right, so now that we're coming back down on this 5-minute candle, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and change. Actually, I'm just going to take this off. Right here.
Order canceled.
Taking those off. Buy stop market.
Order submitted.
Buy stop market.
Order submitted.
I'm going to start looking to take off some contracts here. All right, struggling. I'll take one contract off there if it wants to go green.
Order filled.
Okay, so I got one contract out. Yes, I want to keep them on until it comes down here, but got to protect my account right now. If anything, I take a $300 loss in the day. Not that big a deal if I pop all out right here. Easy to recover that. And I just don't feel comfortable leaving this account at risk. All right, I'm going to move my other stop to here. If it wants to come back up, get out back to the top side of this channel, break above this red candle, then I'll just take the loss for the day. Be like a $600 loss. It's something I can recover in a day. So it's not that big a deal. You know, I had $2,400 or $2,900. No, almost $2,900 in exposure today. That's not good money management, not smart management on my account whatsoever. I needed to take this trade right here when I realized what I had done, because normally what happens when I trade is I see my setup, I know where my target is, I know where my stop is, I know the whole, like, you know, as Mick says, the framing of the trade. I got all of that. And then I run the numbers. And I do that every day, but usually the numbers are almost the same every day, except in the last couple of days, the market's been very volatile and these candles have been quite large. Even though it looks small in the chart right now, dollar-wise, they're huge. So I didn't run those numbers today, or I would have seen right away that I shouldn't be in the mini. I needed to be in the micro. And then when I realized that I shouldn't be in the mini, I should be in the micro, and I had a chance to get out with $200 in profit, I should have just got out of my trade, switched over to the micros, and then had the proper share size for my risk. which is $300 to $400 or $400 to $500. Had I done that, then today would be easy just to trade the plan and that's it. And then I wouldn't have this additional like burden of protecting my account and trying to like fix my mistake. And by doing that, I may end up with a small red day when I should have had a green day, just because I wasn't able to properly trade the day because my risk is too high in the minis when I needed to be in the micro. So I got my stop in here. There's no ATM strategy. I'm going to let that thing ride, head out, go pick up my little one. And worst case scenario, I take a $500 or $600 loss in a day. Best case scenario, I get lucky and this thing sells off and sells off into the close and I make some money. What's more likely to happen is I'm going to leave. It's going to trip this. I'll get out of the trade for a loss in a day and then it'll sell off and I could have made a bunch of money had I been able to trade properly. So it's going to do it for me, traders. I will come back and show you the conclusion to this, but I'm going to head out. So I'm going to hit pause on the video and then I'll come back, show you the conclusion at the end of the day. Okay, so today turned out to be a good red day. I would call this a really good red day. So let's look back here real quick. So we're in the live account right now. So I entered this trade right here. It was a long trade, lower probability setup, but still in the 70s. So good trade to take. Looking for a reversal off of this massive slide and a retrace of that candle. Let's go back to the daily. Looking for a retrace of this candle initially on the day. And that didn't happen. And then this came all the way back down and hit this level and looking for a bounce off that level, which would have been nice. Looking at the 60-minute or the 4-hour even. We'll go there next. Had this big giant candle down here in this 1-hour candle, looking for a retrace of half of that candle. Down here when I got long, looking for a retrace of half of it. And sure enough, that did happen, just not with me. And then let's look over at the 240 and looking for a retrace of this 240-minute candle, at least halfway. And sure enough, that did happen as well. Back to the 5-minute. It just happened all without me because my plan tells me that, this is my probability. It should have gone there right away. And then it didn't. And then we got this wedge, if you will, of a channel forming, like a wedgie channel in here. So, and like I said, there's a fake out breakout right there, but then it broke out and closed above it. And you can see that's a clear signal to buy. And sure enough, off to the races, and that retrace happened. But I ended up switching my trade short right here based on my plan with an 88% probability that this was going to come down and hit my targets. And it didn't happen. But I haven't had a winner in I haven't had a loser in a really long time. So do I still have an 88% probability? That's the big question, right? Like if you have an 80% probability on your setup, typically you're losing 2 out of 10 trades and you've had 15 winners, do you still have an 80% probability on your next trade? Or even you've had maybe 7 winners or 8 winners in a row, do you still have an 80% probability? Or is it more like a 10% probability that you're going to be successful and 90% that a loser's coming, right? What is it? So in a sense, with an 88% probability that this is going to be success, that really takes place after I've had a few losers or after I've had a loser. Every trade after that is a very high probability. But when I've had so many winners in a row, let me see. Okay, so somebody earlier on asked me in one of my comments, do I journal? And yes, I do journal. I track my trades. I have the My Strategy Manager tool that I use to do all that work. And I'm revamping it right now. It's almost done, the new one. I can't wait till it gets finished because it's going to have some cool features. But right now, this is what I'm looking at. So here's the YM on the right side right here. So I had a loser out here, and these are just days with no trades. And then winners, 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 days with no trades, winners, no trade days, all the way down. So it's had a ton of winning days with the second part of my strategy, which is what I was looking at, that 88%, and a loser way back here. So the odds are against me that, right? Even though I have an 88% success rate, with all these winners, there's got to be a loser coming. And that ended up being today. So today's a good red day because now that I got that loser out of the way, tomorrow, Saturday, on Monday, when that next 88% probability setup takes place, I'm going to feel really confident in there because I typically don't have two losers in a row. I'll be able to scale up, take a little more risk on that trade with confidence that it's going to be successful. And if it's not, then this following trade I can definitely scale up on and hit a home run on that one. So I'm looking forward to the next trade setup that takes place. So that's why it's a good red day. The other reason why it's a good red day is I only lost $500 in the day. So yes, I screwed up. I framed out my trade, but I didn't check what the actual risk was. I didn't look at the actual numbers. I was in the mini, and I should have been in the micro. That's where I made a mistake today. Had I done that, right, had I traded properly and did the right thing, I would have did that, and I would have risked about $500 on this trade, and I would have got stopped out for about a $300 or $400 loss because I would have switched my trade before my stop. And then I would have switched to the short side. And then I would have rode that trade out until I stopped out or win. And that stop out or win would have been a $500 loser. So today should have been around an $800 loser, and it is only a $500 loser. The other side of that is I properly managed my trade once I made my mistake for the most part, because I had $2,900 at risk today, which is what I should have lost had I just rode out the day. But I didn't. I properly managed it, and I end up with only a $500 loser. So all in all, I lost a lot less today than I could have and was expecting to. So that part was great. The only downside was I had to leave, and that's why I stopped out of my trades right here. And I didn't take advantage of the close of this candle and the ride back up after this break. So I could have actually turned a red day into a green day had I not had to leave. But if I just strictly traded, like set it, forget it, today would have been a big red day, and I ended up with a small red day. And now the probabilities are very high in my favor that my next trading day is going to be fantastic. So looking forward to that. Going to go into the weekend red, but not worried about it. Going in the week itself is red as well. I think in my live account by like $40 red week. So, but again, I could look forward to next week. And then in the combine, my 50K combine, in my 50K combine, reset that thing. It'll be a small red day on that. Like, I don't remember what it was, like $10. I traded that one well. I got in as I was supposed to, speed bumped the play as I was supposed to, hit my targets as I was supposed to. Because I wasn't here, I was set it, forget it. Had I been here, I might have been able to take advantage of the ride down when I traded that. That would have been pretty awesome. But anyway, that's where we're at, everybody. Hope you had a better week than I did. And we'll see you next week. Next week, I'm looking forward to it. Should be an awesome week. I have lots of opportunity to trade. I'll be able to take all available trades, and the probabilities are way high in my favor. So can't wait till next week. Get back on the green. All right, everybody. See you on Monday.